My necktie is asleep, and the combo went back to New York. The jukebox says to take a leak, and the carpet needs a haircut, and the spotlight looks like a prison break, 'cause the telephone's out of cigarettes, and the balcony is on the make.
Okay. All right, now the next thing that was a common question that people have been asking me for weeks, and I finally have a definitive update for you on this one, is in regards to John Rambo. As you know, John Rambo and I, when I lived in Connecticut, pretty much almost every week, it was about 3 weeks out of the month, would do co-op gameplay on a Saturday. We'd do our podcast called Smart Guys, where we would do live wrestling commentary on everything that's been going on over the course of that particular week in the WWE, and sometimes in TNA, and even Ring of Honor and other stuff. And we had plans that we were going to start a new show once I moved to the state of Washington, where it would be like a coast-to-coast show, where I talk about stuff on the West Coast, he talks about stuff on the East Coast, and we kind of, you know, communicate once a week doing that. And everyone's been saying, what's been going on with this? What is going on with Rambo? It's now been 2 months you've lived in Washington. You haven't done a Smart Guys. And I've been trying my best to keep you guys in the know and informed on what's going on. You know, John was very inundated with work and working on his show Schnozman and Hole Punch. And finally, the final episode of Schnozman and Hole Punch was released last week to much acclaim. It's one of the best internet-based things I think I've ever seen in my life. It's really well done, especially for keeping in mind that John did 99% of the work himself, the filming, the writing, the editing. Really, he did everything himself, the music, shit. And I didn't hear back from him after that. I texted him and congratulated him on the show, and I said, "It's great. You know, what are you thinking for our stuff now? When can we get started up?" So I hadn't heard from him. Finally, last night, I'll be honest with you guys, I was feeling kind of not frustrated, but almost worried that something had happened where he was pissed at me or something, that he wasn't responding to anything that I was sending him. And so I went ahead and I texted him again. I told you guys I'm the realest person on the internet. I got nothing to hide. I'm gonna tell you exactly what we talked about via text. And basically I said, here you go. I said, "Hey John, I hope you're doing well. Haven't heard from you recently. I'd like to catch up with you, off camera. Don't worry about any filming. I just want to hear how you're doing. We haven't talked in a while and it feels weird to me. I knew you had Schnozhole going on, but when you didn't respond at all to my text last week, it felt like something may be wrong. Just let me know. No pressure. I want to know where we stand and that you're okay." And then John did respond this morning, and he said, "Hey, you're going to have to count me out for a while. I need to get my money together so that I can move to a better place. YouTube stuff isn't going to help me with that. I'm around most nights if you ever want to call." So I did respond to him, and I said, "All right, in the next couple days, I'll try to squeeze in a time when I can call. I know there's a big time zone difference." But the bottom line is, it sounds to me like John is just not interested in doing anything on YouTube right now. And I'm gonna talk a little bit right now, because I'm going to be honest with everybody. I think that John does not get the credit that he deserves. I think that John Rambo in particular actually puts in an incredible amount of work ethic, effort, and time into his work that people don't understand. I think that John, unfortunately, didn't get as much, if anywhere near anything, out of the stuff that he put into YouTube like I did, all right? So I'm going to give you a quick bit of history. Back when I started on YouTube on a whim, I started doing gameplay or whatever, and I had this huge jump in popularity because no one was doing gameplay on YouTube like I was. Everyone was either doing professional level walkthroughs, or they weren't doing live commentary, or it was all nothing like raw, unedited, real gameplay like I was doing on YouTube. I was the only person doing it like that at the time. And it became hugely popular. And then in that particular year, we were heavily into Street Fighter. We were playing Street Fighter 4. Years passing after that into, 2009, 2010, John and I started doing co-op of gameplay and stuff like that. And so John that year actually qualified to go to Super Battle Opera in Japan. And at Super Battle Opera, you know, he documented everything. He went and he videotaped everything, and because he had a following of people who knew who he was from my content, he made his own YouTube channel, John Rambo Presents. He documented his whole trip to Japan, and it was huge, like popular as hell. People watched the hell out of the videos. They're like, wow, John, we love your footage. Would you consider doing gameplay of your own? Would you consider doing projects of your own? And so at that time, John did a few things. He started a series called Games the Series, where he was just playing random games at a gaming store where he knew the employees there. And also with his other friends, off-camera friends who people didn't know. We're doing co-commentary with him. And then after a while, he decided he didn't want to do that, that he'd prefer to just do gameplay with me, and he went in his own direction on his channel, and he started doing things such as The Show, which is his weekly podcast with OJ, where for about 2 hours, the two of them shoot the shit. They talk about different topics. They do comedy skits. They have guests. They play music. They do all kinds of stuff. It's a 2-hour variety show that I'm very much a huge fan of. And it's funny because when the show started, we're talking some 2 to 3 years ago now, it was just a podcast, meaning there was no video. It was like just audio. You could listen to it as an audio show, and they would put up pictures and stuff that would go through, but it wasn't anything you needed to see. You could literally just listen to the show and be doing other stuff, and you missed nothing. Over the years, John Rambo's The Show has progressed so exponentially, like from being just a podcast to having all kinds of interactive art and things going on, to then having guests on the show, to then having video, and it became a Skype call podcast where you could see video call and see people live on the show, to having all this video packages and things put into it. And then, of course, John, in 2012, when we were working on our own video series called Project 7, John was inspired creatively to do his own thing called Schnozman and Hole Punch, which is this show that he's been working on for 2 years and finally, reached completion this past week. And it was a lot of effort and work. And I'm going to say this, I am angry because John does not get the viewership he deserves. I love his content. I think that the show, in addition to that Schnozman and Hole Punch, and anything that he puts out on that channel is great. It's gold. It's like, it's not, I would not miss it. I watch everything that he puts out on there just like I would watch every episode of a popular television show, or every episode of, or even following a funny comedian and what work they work on. His quality of stuff is that good. Now, keep in mind, he's an individual. He's independent. He doesn't have a studio backing him with millions of dollars so he can have crazy special effects and all that. He learned everything on the fly, and he does it himself. And the thing that pisses me off is if you consistently look at John's content over the past several years, the stuff that he puts out on YouTube, it's gotten exponentially better, and his views have gotten exponentially worse. When he started with the show, which was just an audio podcast, that thing was getting tens of thousands of views. Now he struggles to even get a couple thousand views on his podcast. I don't know why. Nothing's changed. The quality has gone up, not down, yet somehow the interest has waned. And a lot of people say to me, Phil, your content, well, you can say 100 things about me, that I'm an asshole, I'm a hypocrite, people hate me, and there's a slander campaign against me, and yada, 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 yada. My views have gone down, but not to the point where it's like I get 10% of what I used to. And John, unfortunately, that's what's happened to him. It's bullshit. What the hell happened over there? I have no idea. I've never seen anything where he attacked a fan, or there was an argument, or he did something wrong. It just seems for whatever reason people gravitated away from his YouTube channel. And over the years, he's put so much work into the stuff that he's done. I know for a fact that he put a good 6 fucking months of work into the final episode of Schnozman and Hole Punch. And right now, you go over there, and of course, was he expecting a ton of views? No. What I would say is it's a success in regards to the people that watched it, loved it. So if a couple thousand people watch it and love it, I guess, mission accomplished. But I know for a fact that's his heart, soul, money, and time that was invested in that thing. And he even knew, so much so, that it was, at this point, just for the artistic vision and not for the fact that he was going to get anything monetarily out of it. He didn't even monetize the final episode of Schnozman and Hole Punch. So he knew from the get-go that the series over 2 years had declined in viewership so much that it wasn't going to be getting anything significant. And he didn't even bother putting ads on it because he didn't want the artistic vision ruined by ads fucking popping up all over his work. So John is a hard worker. John is a dependable person. And I really feel that, I don't know from what the cause was, that all of a sudden his viewership, declined like it did over the past couple of years. And I don't think he gets the credit that he deserves. And I feel bad when I get a text like that, that basically he's saying he's giving up on YouTube except for, I know he's going to continue to do his podcast, the show, but basically that he doesn't want to do anything on YouTube. He has to focus on real life work to save up money and be able to move. That pisses me off. I hate that because that means that's a creative vision that's been crushed. You know, here's someone who's a very creative person who I know if he had the means to do it, that he could make epic series for the internet, and he can't do it now. He has to go focus on 9-to-5 job because he needs to save up his money. And it's so disappointing, especially because I'm such a good friend of his, that is the situation. And all I can say is that, you know, from my standpoint and my perspective, work-wise, is it a disappointment that John's not going to be in my content anymore, or at least for the foreseeable future? Yes, absolutely. But at the same time, I'm an adult, and I realize that this is John's life, and it's serious business, and that if that's his decision, I absolutely 1,000,000% respect it, and I say good luck to him, and I hope that, you know, he has massive success with whatever he's doing, so that he can actually, you know, start making some money, because YouTube didn't pan out, and that he can do stuff, you know, in his life to improve his life situation. I am the exception to the rule. I am the lucky one. I am the one out of the million who tried to make it big on YouTube. I take that back. I didn't try to make it big on YouTube. I just tried to get anything going on YouTube that could possibly work as a hobby. It blew up, and because it blew up at one time and I was the popular thing, I'm able to make a living doing it today, even though I'm not the popular thing anymore. I still have enough that I can make a living, but I'm the exception. Right? I'm the lucky one. And it sucks that someone like John, who has all that creativity, it didn't work out for him, and it's bullshit. And I hate a world where that's not fair. You know what I mean? It's not fair. It's not fucking fair. And I can understand there's a lot of people that are frustrated, that just like John, who you have creative talent and you can't make it big on YouTube. And I understand, because it's bullshit. It's not fair. It's kind of like perfect timing. You know what I mean? And it's perfect timing and luck of the draw, and I was the lucky one, and millions of people are not. And that's very frustrating to me because, as you know, John was an integral part of my work. John is my friend. I loved having work and friendship involved because it really was a great thing. But I knew when I was making this move to Washington that it had to be done. It was going to be a massive positive. So far, there has been a massive positive. And if anything, the one major negative right now is that, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do stuff with John. From time to time, I'm going to give him a call. I'm going to try to give him a call in the next couple of days. Hopefully, we can catch up, find out what the heck's going on with him. And, you know, if you want to keep in touch with John, definitely check out his YouTube channel, John Rambo Presents, where he's going to be uploading weekly. His podcast and all that stuff is going to be continuing on over there. And I hope, again, I wish him the best, and I hope that stuff works out for him. And I'm going to be keeping in touch with him privately offline. I know this is a huge change for everybody because we were all expecting, you know, this wasn't something that John and I discussed before. It was a completely different story, and apparently there was this epiphany in the past 2 months where he just realized that he can't do YouTube stuff anymore. You know, that's life. It is what it is. So, you know, I just got to move ahead. And no hard feelings whatsoever to anybody. Seriously, how could I possibly have hard feelings for a guy who supported me, who was there for me, who we had a working friendship and a great business relationship for several years, and it was only that I chose to actively move? How could I be upset that he is moving on and doesn't want to be involved with that YouTube-related content anymore? I mean, I would be such an incredible egomaniac, selfish asshole. You know what I mean? And I'm not. You know, like I said, I love the guy. I wish him the best, and I hope that stuff works out for him. So there you go. You know what I mean? There you go. That's the definitive answer. Okay. Next question. Hey Phil, I'm a longtime fan, and I've been watching your videos since 2010. I'm just wondering why you seem to dislike Hideo Kojima so much. Here we go again. I know most of it is just your joking around about how he excessively has his name in the credits and opening cutscenes of his games, but I feel some of the things you say about him have genuine malicious intent behind them. One example is during your recent PT playthrough where you got angry and said things like, Kojima is sitting there smoking a doobie and he doesn't know how to make games, and other comments of that nature. I was just wondering if you're joking around with comments like that or if you have genuine disdain for Kojima. Thanks. And that's from Smelly Day Goes. Well, I've answered this question before. I'll do it again because undoubtedly every year now you're going to have thousands more people who are listening to the complete nonsense smear campaign about me and how I hate Kojima, I don't respect game developers, and the KWO is after me. Listen, I like Hideo Kojima and his work. I do. I actually very much enjoy the Metal Gear Solid games. I do. I wasn't good at them, but that doesn't mean I didn't like them. Okay? Now, what I have issue with Hideo Kojima is that he tries to do things that are so outside the box and innovative that unless you know what you're doing or how to do it or beat it, that you wouldn't be able to, and you're going to have repetitive fails, and it's going to frustrate the fuck out of the gamer. Some people see this as, like, amazing artistic masterpiece. He made something so cryptic that it's hard to find. It's genius. To me, I say it's stupid. Because when I play a game, I want to play a game that's a functional game. And the reason that I raged during this PT playthrough is because the final puzzle of this playthrough, this teaser that he made, is so fucking cryptic. There's no instruction in the game whatsoever as to what you're supposed to do to figure it out. He didn't care, and he even said, they asked him at Gamescom, did you do that on purpose? He said, yes, I purposely made the final puzzle incredibly difficult, ha ha ha. And he thinks he's like some high and mighty god of gaming that he designed this final puzzle that's so cryptic. To me, I think it's fucking stupid. If I play a game, I want the game to be functional, to tell me what to do, and yeah, there should be an element of challenge, but not just fucking endlessly wander around and figure it out for yourself with no hint. I mean, come on. Here, I'm going to give you a task, right? I'm going to build this piece of machinery for me. Oh, by the way, I'm not going to give you the instruction manual on how to do it. You just fucking figure it out for yourself. Haha, I'm a genius. That's literally what the issue was, what I had issue with the end of it, because I was so disappointed that that playable teaser was so fun up to that point. Up to that point, that final puzzle, I was able to figure out all the stuff in the playable teaser. That last one, there's nothing to figure out. You just fucking fuck you. It's literally fuck you. If you randomly figure it out, you do. If you don't, fuck you. And that's literally Kojima in your living room saying, fuck you, you wasted your time on playable teaser because I'm a dick. He was just basically being a dick. And that's the kind of shit I don't put up with. Like, no, if you're going to be an active dick to the gamer, then you're going to deserve to get criticized. So in that regard, I criticize Kojima. Yes, Kojima. That's not game design. That's being an asshole to the person who's going to spend money on your product, and it's not respectful or respectable to the consumer or the gamer. You should actually tell them what to fucking do so they have an inkling of what to figure out. It's dumb. And the thing that I've criticized Kojima for over the years is that it seems like he doesn't want to be a game designer. He wants to be a movie director. Because take a look at the stuff that he does with Metal Gear. 14 hours of cutscenes in a video game? A 2-hour-long ending cutscene? I mean, just make movies. And of course he's, oh, I do not want to make movies. Yes, you want to make movies. Stop lying to yourself. You want to be a director. Why else are you teaming up with a movie director to make the new Silent Hill game? Because you want to be a movie director. Just face it. So, those are the issues that I have. I don't dislike Hideo Kojima. In fact, it's funny because the KWO, right? These children, these immature little fucking idiots who sit behind their computers and start this whole movement about DSP sucks, he's not good, you shouldn't watch his content, blah, blah, blah. I created the KWO. The KWO was my idea. It was a joke. I made a joke while playing a Hideo Kojima game about the KWO. A fan made art of it with me and John Rambo with Kojima and a few other people, and we were putting it up on stream, and then the idiots turned it into their own bullshit that I hate Hideo Kojima, which is bullshit. It was a joke. But that's the thing. The little bit of hint of truth that, yeah, I have some issues with Kojima, gets turned into Phil hates Kojima, fuck him, he doesn't respect any game developer, and blah, blah, blah. And that's the problem with the internet. There's one of me, and there's an endless number of you, the viewer. And they could all go out there and spread their slander, and there's absolutely nothing I can do to actually dispute it. I can't. Because for every one time that I address something like this, there's another 14,000 things that they can say about me that I can't directly address. And that's the problem with internet popularity. It's a new thing. It's not like celebrity. Because with celebrity, one person in a gossip magazine says something about Tom Cruise and who gives a fuck. But now, 14,000 idiots all say the same thing. Oh, there must be credibility to that. There's no way for me to disprove it because it's 14,000 negative things about me, and I can't dispel it, right? I can't just sit here addressing the negativity all day. So this, oh, Phil hates Kojima? Complete lie. I actually like the Metal Gear games. I quite liked PT until the final puzzle where Kojima, probably literally, which is what I said during the playthrough, well, I want to do something that's different. So I'm so smart, I'll kick my legs up like this, I'll smoke, I'll have a nice cigarette. let's make a puzzle that has no solution unless you randomly find it or someone tells you how to do it. Because I'm Hideo Kojima. And that's the kind of attitude I don't like. That elitist douchebag attitude of a game designer. And that's where I have issue with Kojima. There you go.
I thought what we had was special!